We are on the verge of getting paid out in a massive way for the long dedicated commitment for AMC stock. I want to explain what is happening with the cost to borrow rates because the cost to borrow max is now approaching about 40%. Cost to borrow minimums up dramatically today. Cost to borrow average up again dramatically for the day. At the same time, we have a big margin problem that is going on. You are very, very close to seeing margin calls. And I want to talk about specifically where AMC stock is as a fundamental business and how all of these things are likely to come together. How I was categorizing it just a couple of months ago, saying really summertime, midsummer, end of summer, that's kind of when I expect to see the most. And I think our payday is coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into all of this key information. Hit that like button if you guys want to get paid. Subscribe to the channel if you guys find value out of the video. Nonetheless, let's dive into it. If you guys want access to my trades in real time, link down below in the description. We have just absolutely been destroying it pretty much on every single trade that we have been making. Those prices will be going up tonight at midnight. If you guys want to lock in the rate for the rest of your life, there you go. Link down below in the description. We would love to have you, and link in the pinned comment. So first and foremost, I do want to keep this video short, sweet, straight to the point because a lot of this information you guys probably already know. You're probably not oblivious to the fact that NASDAQ is down 30%. You're probably not oblivious to the fact that hedge funds are getting absolutely smacked, whether it is Tiger Global that is down 52%, it's Three Arrows Capital that is just destroyed, all of the crypto brokerages that are getting just decimated. Like crypto, forget crypto as an asset class. Like everything is risky when it comes to crypto, and a lot of people are feeling a lot of pain because of the leverage over in that market. But the same thing is actually happening here in the stock market, but there's a lot more optionality there, right? You can go out and play derivatives. You can protect your portfolios a little bit better to a certain extent until everything comes crashing down. And that's probably why AMC is starting to make a pretty decent recovery here towards the end of the day, finally getting a little bit of a bullish reaction. Now, the underlying fundamental business of AMC stock is doing very well, which is a lot different from a lot of other companies. AMC has struggled over the past 2 years. Now it's in a much better place. So I do imagine we are going to see a near-term catalyst over the next couple of weeks, next month or so. I do think the executive order, everything that we have talked about over the last year, is still in full effect. Not everything is going to get a major reaction. Not everything is going to be seen, as soon as the executive order goes into effect. For an example, it really did nothing for the stock, but I think it will have a big role to play once those margin calls actually start. And once we do get a catalyst, once the attention goes back on AMC stock, because you guys don't want to forget this. What makes stocks run? What makes momentum stocks run? The biggest thing is attention to the company, attention to the stock, and there is no other stock. We could argue this all day long. Come join us on the live stream, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you guys want to come argue with me about this. But I can sit there and say with 100% confidence that AMC is the most widely talked about meme stock. It is the one that will always get people's attention when it starts to rally, and that is very, very powerful. Now, if we're thinking about margin calls, and that's really what this video is about, we're going to go over the short interest, we're going to go over the cost of borrow rates, we're going to talk about all of that, but really it comes down to the margin calls and hedge funds going bankrupt. If you guys seen TMI's video he put out yesterday talking about essentially hedge funds going bankrupt, or it was really commentators on Fox Business that we're talking about it, but whether it's Fox Business, whether it's, CNN Business or CNBC, they're all saying the same thing. Hedge funds are in a very bad overall situation. You can't have hedge funds down 50% and say things are all fine and dandy. That is obviously, without a doubt, not true. So there's a big problem going on. And let's look at the raw numbers here just for a second. So keep this in mind. NASDAQ is still down even after the day we seen today, up 1.5%. The NASDAQ year today is still down 29.09%. This is almost a record drop for 6 months. It almost doesn't get worse than this. So keep that in mind. Down 29%. What is happening in the margin, the realm of good old leverage, of margin, of the American dream, the possibilities that are out there? Well, January 2022, we were sitting at $829 billion worth of margin debt. And what happened? Till now, we're sitting at $752 billion, almost $753 billion worth of margin debt. So you've only went down about $60 billion in total margin debt. And this is still, get this, this is still over $400 billion more margin debt now than we had during the bottom in 2020. Well, about $330 billion more of margin debt that we seen in March of 2020. So that's a big problem. When the Nasdaq's down 30%, margin debt has not come down even close to that same pace. What's really happening is hedge funds portfolios are really starting to get compressed in a very big way between all of this margin debt that they still owe and their equity values dropping. So we're really at a moment in time where another 5 to 10% drop to the downside in the markets could mean the difference, you know, between seeing massive margin calls and not seeing massive margin calls. And why I'm making this video is because I do think we're going to see lower lows, and I think possibly in July is when that is going to happen. July 28th is the first day that essentially we could know if we are currently in a recession, and then the markets will all of a sudden realize the Fed is raising rates during a recession. That's not good. But we also have quantitative tightening, and we have, you know, high inflation. We have other factors as well, this food situation, mass shortages of just different things all the time. It's equaling out to be a very bad situation for a decent amount of time. This is not something that's just going to all of a sudden just go away overnight, right? So we really have an extended timeline here to see margin calls, but I do think that's probably coming sooner rather than later. And when hedge funds blow up, they got to cover on their short positions, they got to sell their stocks, they got to do all of that. And hedge fund redemptions are starting to come in a massive way. At the same time, hedge funds are just now, shorting with a ferocity that we have not seen since 2008. And Bloomberg actually calls it a shorting binge that we have not seen since 2008. It says most shorted stocks outperform markets during Tuesday's bounce. Quote, rallies can be rented but not owned, warns David Rosenberg. And I think that's 100% correct. Obviously, I'm not going to pay for Bloomberg, so we can't really read the article, which is unfortunate, but you guys kind of get the idea here, and that's why we've seen so much, downside in 2022. It's a lot of that shorting, but at the same time, these hedge funds, they're not being smart, they're not protecting their portfolios, and they continue to short stocks that are already beaten into the ground, like something, maybe you guys have heard of it, like AMC Entertainment, right? You don't short AMC when it's fallen from $72 to $12, sitting at a fair value. You even have Motley Fool coming out and saying this could be a good time for serious investors to start considering buying AMC stock. It's just not a stock that you want to short. If anything, it's time to actually cover on your short positions on a risk to reward kind of risk management strategy. Nonetheless, the short interest of free float for AMC stock is 22.56%, extremely high. Anything over 20% is categorized as extreme short interest. Now, current shares that are sold short is 116.32 million, cost bar minimum of 17.61%, which is up about 4 to 5% from the levels that we seen last night on the live stream. Cost to borrow average is up much more than that at 23.49%, and cost to borrow max is sitting at 34.08%. This is implying a big potential move to the upside, which is coming, but it's also telling you there's a lack of shares available. And when it comes down to shorts actually covering, that's going to make all of the difference. And these short positions are now becoming a lot more expensive to actually keep on your books, or even the shares that are out on loan. That's becoming more expensive as well, because even if you don't short the stock, if you borrow the stock, you're paying that cost to borrow rate. And I think when you add all of these factors together, we're really looking at a potentially explosive situation coming for AMC stock, and we're really about to get paid, in my personal opinion. And as you guys know, over the next couple of weeks, we have a very strong chance of actually seeing a gamma squeeze, given the level of option activity we are seeing for July 15th. We're getting new numbers coming in today, and you are almost at 430,000 calls that are out of the money. At the same time, the calls that are in the money is sitting at about 6,200. So that is incredibly bullish for the potential to see a gamma squeeze. At the same time as that, you're seeing about 95,000 puts that are in the money. If you combine the puts that are in the money, the calls that are out of the money, if 50%, just 50% of the puts went out of the money and 50% of the calls went into the money, you would be looking at over 25 million shares the market makers would have to go out and buy, possibly in a relatively short amount of time. And what's the average volume we're seeing on AMC stock every single day? About 25 million shares, 25 to 35 million shares. That would be a whole day's worth of volume. That would be a massive volume spike, and that would help drive attention, momentum, just traders, just a big rally in the stock. And I think that's ultimately when we get paid out. And you guys got to remember this as well. I know people like to talk about the individual stock, which we talk about AMC stock all the time, but I talk about the macro environment so much here on this channel, because if you want to get paid out with AMC, if you want to see the MOAS, the only thing that matters is not what the price of AMC stock is doing. It is, how are the hedge funds doing? Are they closer now to seeing margin calls? If AMC were to rally and go against them, how quick would they have to cover? How quick would they get margin calls? If capital is cheap, if portfolios are hitting all-time highs, it does not matter if a small portion of your portfolio as a hedge fund, aka these short positions at AMC, probably small portions of these hedge funds portfolios, it doesn't matter what happens with that small portion. Your other part is fine, but when your other large part of your portfolio is doing bad, your long positions, potentially your other short positions, or just getting in a bad short position at the wrong time, like some of these hedge funds have been doing over the last couple of days, and then your small section of your portfolio starts to go against you as well, that's where you see margin calls. And that's what caused all the short squeezes during 2008, Overstock, Volkswagen. You guys get the idea there. So when you add all of this together, it's only a matter of time, and I hope you guys do truly realize that. At the same time, I am not a financial advisor, so come to your own conclusions, do your own due diligence. All of this information is public, and it's really common sense if you watch the markets every single day. So that is what I'm going to say for this video. That's the information that you guys need to know. Yes, we are about to get paid, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget that, in my personal opinion. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Get your free stock with Webull, Mumu, and Public. And if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, like I said, link down below in the description or in the pinned comment. Follow me on Twitter as well if you guys want to stay up to date with some of the most important news hitting the markets in real time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.